Hi, my name is Brian Kem. I'm with Frugal Fortunes, and thanks for joining me. Now, there are two certainties in life. One, death. Two, taxes. Thank you, Benjamin Franklin, for that quote. Now, most people plan their taxes, but a lot of people don't plan for their funeral and what comes after for the loved ones they leave behind. It's a very tough topic to discuss, but it's very valuable to think about in advance. I'm going to be covering a few funeral home trends, also talking about a few funeral home companies and stocks that people can invest in. But first, I'd really appreciate it if you tap that like button down below and also hit subscribe. It means a great deal to me. Losing a loved one is very challenging. Everyone goes through this process, and when you're grief struck, under a lot of emotional stress, planning a funeral is very hard to do. Funeral home companies are well aware of this, and many funeral home companies are for profit. And their industry is booming thanks to the world's growing population, the growing population that's grieving. The world's population is up about 400% in the last century. That's a lot of growth, and with that, deaths have also increased on a nominal level. So I have a chart for you, and this chart shows all the way back to 1990. Total deaths in the US were 2.15 million, and since 1990 they've climbed to 2.84 million last year in 2018. So the funeral home industry is busier than ever selling their products and services to very vulnerable families, many of whom don't have the ability to make smart financial decisions. Like most for-profit companies, funeral homes often will try and sell their more expensive products. And when a grief-struck family comes in, they're vulnerable, they're easier to upsell. For example, caskets can cost as much as $10,000 depending on the material and the finish that you choose. Another important decision that you need to make is if you want to be embalmed. Embalming became widely popular after Abraham Lincoln was shot in 1865. After his death, he was moved from Washington, D.C. to Springfield, Illinois. And with that, they embalmed him first, and it was a bit of a parade to show off his body, let people throughout the country mourn. Now, most morticians will readily provide embalming services. They can range from a few $100s to $1,000 plus. Now, it's not required on a federal level to be embalmed, but some states do require it, so it's important that you do your homework first and know the rules. An alternative to embalming is refrigeration. It can be a much more cost-effective method. If that's something you're interested in or your family's interested in, it's worth asking about. If you have an idea of what your loved one wants ahead of time, it is going to make the process that much easier and much less expensive. With all these funeral home services that are offered, it's easy to see how funeral homes make out like bandits. They make a lot of money. Now, you might think that your town's funeral home is local, it's a mom and pop shop. A lot of times the names on them are unique, but in reality, there's a massive corporation that owns a lot of funeral homes. In fact, there's a good chance that a funeral home in your town or city is owned by Service Corporation International. It's one of the largest publicly traded funeral home stocks available. The market cap tops $8 billion, and they have a massive network. Just quickly listing off 4 more funeral home stocks: Carriage Services, Hillenbrand, Matthews International Corp., and Stonemore Partners. All interesting companies that investors can get access to the funeral home market through. It's still good to consider other funeral trends. Although deaths are going to continue to climb on a nominal level and it might be a good place to invest, people are becoming more conscious of the costs and alternatives that are available. To avoid traditional funerals and all the expenses that come with them, there are a lot of alternative options popping up. For example, I'm personally leaning towards an urn that creates life. A company is taking ashes or the cremation ashes and putting them in urns with tree seeds and probably some other nutrients to give it a boost. Then families can plant those and it'll grow into a big tree afterwards, like maybe a big oak tree. That's a more affordable option, but to each their own. Earlier this week, I was reading through or catching up on some National Geographic magazines, and I learned about a company in Switzerland that offers a service that turns some cremation ashes into diamonds, real diamonds, down to the atomic level. These diamonds that are created are the same as diamonds that are found when mining. That, of course, is a more expensive option, and once again, to each their own. Overall, there are many funeral and death options available. You just have to look in advance and find what best suits your needs, your family needs. But if you just sit down, have a conversation, it can be a little tough. I mean, it's a taboo topic in a lot of ways, but it will save you a lot of time, frustration, and stress down the road, or your family, which I'm hoping most people, when they go, want to at least make it easier on those that they loved left behind. So please, at least to get it started, compare your local funeral home's options, see what's available, get the ball rolling. Even just having a simple conversation with your spouse, your loved ones, your family will at least give them a better idea of what you want when you go. And this is going to prevent funeral home companies from upselling and making more money off of grieving families. It's going to be interesting to see more trends in the funeral home industry play out. Thanks for stopping by. Once again, my name is Brian Kem with Frugal Fortunes. And if you made it this far, I'd really appreciate it if you hit that like button down below, as well as subscribing to my channel. I have a lot more research I want to put out here soon. Thank you.